Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Social Sellers in the Wild. We do this series a few times a year to showcase some of our amazing customers and what they're doing to find success on their social media networks. Our teams work really hard day in and day out to build out their social selling programs, and we just want to give them the recognition that they deserve. So many of our loan officers, agents, and advisors have been able to grow customer relationships as a result of this. Plus, we hope this is going to give everyone else an opportunity to find some inspiration for their social media as well. There are so many awesome ideas, and at times we know that this can seem overwhelming, but we're here to show you that it can be done and it can be fun as well as easy and compliant. I'm very excited about our guest speaker today. She is here to answer some questions and walk us through her social selling strategy, as well as some real life examples of what she's doing across her networks. We'll also be looking at several of our customer examples from a variety of institutions to show how different it can look for everyone. But before we get started, just a quick round of introductions. My name is Kelly Rouse, and I'm a customer success manager here at Denim Social. I work with our customers to maximize their usage on the Denim Social platform and help them with their social selling strategies overall. And Connor?
And I am Connor Phillips. I'm the marketing manager here at Denim Social, helping the team and customers with all things marketing and social media.
And I'm so excited that Liz Westinghouse, a loan originator from Homestead Funding, has joined us today. She is a great example of what you should be doing on social media. So Liz, would you do a quick intro for everyone?
Sure. Hey, welcome. Well, thank you for coming here with us today. My name is Liz. I am a mortgage originator. This is a second career for me. I was in healthcare as a registered dietitian for 15 years before this. So I'm coming at social selling from multiple different angles from even before being a loan originator. So thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you, Liz. So without further ado, let's hop in.
All right, so some of you have heard this from us before, but never hurts to have a little refresher. We talk about social selling all the time, but what does it really even mean? It's more than just being on social media. It's actually using social actively, authentically to sell a product or service. It's using your own personal social media, not your brand page, to showcase thought leadership, to engage with your potential customers, to interact with your existing customers, and ultimately to build trust and real relationships. Because for an industry like financial services, those relationships and that trust are really everything. And especially in a digital age, you want to keep your people, your community really close by and create that personal feeling.
Exactly, Connor. We've seen this time and time again. Customers coming back to us with their success stories once this is finally, clicked and they've really found their groove. It takes time and effort, but eventually you can be a social pro. And Connor, can you just give us a quick refresher on what content should look like when you're first starting social selling? I know personally, when I'm speaking with customers, a common question I'm asked and something that they struggle with is really where to get started and what to even post.
Yeah, and it's tricky having a healthy social media feed and getting started with posting on your networks. It really starts with having a good mix of content, which we'll see in our customer examples. And it's always nice to see a mix of brand content about your business, your institution, to let people know what it is that you actually do. Industry content that's centered on educating your audiences about what they need to know and what you get a lot of questions about to really position yourself as an expert and a thought leader. And then personal content that is so important because it shows your human side and puts the personal touch in your social media that is so necessary to connect and to stand out. So as you start to think about what you can make content about, I would start with focusing on these three main pillars and then try to get a good mix of them.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so nice to see different kinds of content from a buyer's perspective. You can be a professional and share really insightful content while still having those real moments there. In today's customer examples, we're going to take a look at customer posts from a bit of a different angle. We're going to concentrate more about strategy than the actual content itself. So we'll show you how our customers have used authenticity, industry knowledge, and audience engagement to make the most of the content that they share.
Yeah, and the way you share is just as important as what you share. It's also about the strategy and the process behind it.
I could not agree more. The strategy and process really does make a huge difference. We know that you all are very busy in your daily routines, but we also know that consistency is key when it comes to social media. And Liz, you do an awesome job with consistently posting across your network. So kudos to you here. But I'd love to know, how do you make this a priority or schedule time aside to make sure that you're posting on your networks?
That is a great question. And I would say that as a person, I am consistently inconsistent when it comes to this. I generally will post more authentically than I will just like sit down and schedule, like I need to have a post every single day. I find when I do that, things kind of get diluted a little bit when it's just like this every single day at 12 o'clock. So I like to post every week, maybe at multiple times a week. There are going to be more weeks where maybe something's going on where I might post every day, but just because I want to, not because I feel like I have to. But I try to put posts out there that I feel like I would want to see as a consumer. So things that are actually going to entertain me and not just be dry, a little bit of mix of both. But I do try to hop onto Denim Social at least once a week and schedule out some posts, and then sort of, sprinkle in my own things throughout the week.
Awesome. And I love that you said consistently inconsistent. At the end of the day, that's still showing consistency. We'll see some of her examples a little bit later, but you can definitely tell. And I'd like to point this out too, sort of what Liz said, it's okay to do what works for you. Not everyone's schedules or strategies are going to look identical. There's really no silver bullet or magic recipe. And, at the end of the day, engagement's the name of the game. And if you're seeing engagement and building those relationships on social media, then your strategy is working. So great job here, Liz. That was awesome. Another major piece, and we kind of just started to touch on this actually, but another major piece of your social strategy is going to be that authenticity piece. So, make sure that you're caring about what you're posting. Liz, you literally just touched on that, and I couldn't agree more, because that does shine through to your audience. They can tell. Kurt Moore, a mortgage loan officer at Lincoln Savings Bank, a community bank that's located in Iowa. He does an excellent job of this. When reading or watching his content, you feel like you're really getting to know him as a person.
Yeah, Kelly, Kurt is so great at showcasing authenticity. And this is really the most important element to social these days. And it simply means that you're being the same person, advisor, agent, loan officer, whatever it is online that you are in person. So bring your personality and expertise out when you post. No one wants to read something that's like boring and dry. And I mean, that includes you. Think about the content that catches your eye and that you enjoy looking at. And Kurt has done a wonderful job of showing his own persona as the mortgage guy. He makes videos about his take on current events and issues surrounding the housing market. And in one of these posts, he's talking about personal examples in his experience and his job and what he's taken and learned from them, and putting his own personal spin. So really perfect way to make content unique and enjoyable to consume.
And here we've got another example from Sarah Setbass, venture president at Town Bank, located in Virginia, North Carolina.
Yeah, and Town Bank, they do such a great job also of showing authenticity in their post. Sometimes it's really as simple as sharing an event that you went to, a customer you met with, or your pet, animal content, always a winner. And it's really not so different as what you might share on your personal pages. but you can think of ways that the content relates to your values as a professional and what you want your clients, customers, and other people in the industry to think about you. A really great way to do this is to kind of share the love on social, tag, make posts about causes that you care about or organizations that you're involved with. Not every single thing you post has to be directly related to your job. It's more about talking to your audiences in a familiar, friendly way and creating that sense of community.
Yeah, it's definitely, authenticity is not something that you can fake. It's about those little things that make you, you, and those things that will help your customers and your prospects get to know you. Because I'm sure as all of our professionals who are watching this know, you have to click with someone and have that personality fit for it to be a good working relationship. We always say here that people buy from people, and a solid relationship is the foundation of doing business, especially in this industry. And Liz, with the authenticity piece, I think this is where you particularly shine across your networks. You do such a great job of being authentic while also sharing that relevant and educational information to your audience. Can you tell me about your approach to creating your content in an authentic way?
Yes. I think that there may be a perception, at least with people that are in banking or maybe do mortgages, that we are like judgmental, stuffy people behind a desk. Like we kind of are looking down at somebody who's applying. And I really want to break that and make people feel like I'm just like them. I just know how to help them get a mortgage. I am approachable. I want them to feel comfortable when they talk to me. So the content that I put out there and just putting videos, and this is truly just me being like stream of consciousness posting, like if I come across somebody who thinks that they have to put 20% down, it'll be on my mind and I'll just put a video out there talking about down payment options, maybe for the next person. But really, I want them to understand what it would be like to have a conversation with me, because it's pretty much the same thing as the videos that I post is what it's like in real life.
Yeah, I love that. And I know you said a lot of this is kind of like stream of consciousness for you. When you meet someone and maybe they've got a question, you make sure that you're answering it across your social media. So can you tell me, kind of building off of that, a little bit more about how you come up with your content ideas?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll just be in the mood to come up with like a list of things that I think people might be interested about. And I have like a notes file open with content, but really it's more about what's happening day to day and what I'm coming across. Because like if you're in this industry, it's really bizarre. Like you'll come across like the same thing multiple times in a week, where it's like almost like a guide for you. Like all of a sudden you'll have three different, clients that week say that they have their money saved under their mattress or in a safe in their closet. And I think to myself, okay, well, I might as well put this out there then, because it sounds like people need to know. Or I'll put, if there's something going on in the media, like right now with the interest rate, loan level price adjustment thing, like it's probably time for me to do a video about that, because I think a lot of people need to know that information.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how it's relevant and timely. And I know that, potential customers and current customers really get a lot when you're sharing information like that. So when you are sharing, information like that and really being your true authentic self, how do you balance being professional and authentic when you're posting?
I mean, I just speak to people like, when I do a post, I just act like somebody's in front of me. So I know it's scary and nerve-wracking to put a video out there and you're sort of putting yourself out there, but just imagine that your client is in front of you and you're just educating them. I am lucky where I work with Homestead Funding that we do have a really awesome marketing department that I cannot thank enough for being there for me. So if I am posting about something where it does toe that line of compliance and I get nervous, I can just send it over to them and say like, hey, can you guys just look at this really quick and just give me your stamp of approval? Because it is really important. This information is, these guidelines are serious and you want to give correct information without, and having a compliance issue. So I think that you do need to make sure the content is accurate, but you still need to come across as approachable and knowledgeable and not dry. So it's just, and it takes practice, like if you go back in my Instagram feed, my first videos, probably not as like, I probably stumble a little bit as I am right now, just because I'm nervous. But as you get used to it, all of a sudden it just like takes two takes and you can just post it because you know what you need to do. And And the feedback helps too. Once you start seeing the feedback from posting these like videos of being in your car with a hoodie on, like you can see on my screen, it really, like, I can't tell you the feedback I've gotten when I started doing these informal videos versus like the very formal in the studio videos. Those are great too, but I think this really comes across different to people who are viewing.
I totally agree. It's like they're getting to know you as a person. And, I love that you touched on the compliance piece as well. It does play such a large role in this industry. And, I always think it's very important to keep that in mind as well. And I love that you're using your marketing team as a resource there. Any other tips or tricks for how compliance factors into this when you're creating these posts?
Honestly, I would say just know your facts. Know that if you're going to speak about interest rate, you have to really toe the line. If you have a marketing department or a compliance department, utilize them. Like get a friend in that department. Like I, have a contact in our marketing department. He lets me text him my videos, and I can text him and just say like, can you just like look at this really quickly? And he's happy to do it because they're also watching this whole process unravel as I'm doing these videos, and they're excited to see what happens too. So I think it's just really important to know what it means to toe that line and do it appropriately. And once you get used to it and you start doing it, you'll know what's going to fly and what isn't. But until then, utilize your marketing or your compliance team. They're there for a reason. They're super helpful, and they want to make sure that you're safe while you're posting.
Absolutely. And posting through the platform as well is going to be a really good safety net for you. Obviously, there's going to be a set of eyes on the post. So you can definitely feel comfortable that way as well. All right. It looks like up next, we've got the industry content piece.
All right, well, so good to hear all that, Liz. And now we're going to kind of switch back to some examples from Lincoln Savings Bank from Kurt. Now that we're pivoting to industry content as a loan officer or agent or advisor, you are the trusted person that customers are looking to for sound advice. And there is so much misinformation, so many influencers with no credentials out there, but you can actually become something of an influencer just by sharing, like you said, Liz, what's real, what's true, like clearing confusion for people. And here Kurt has one post where he explains differences in a flat fee or a percentage fee for a certain loan amount, which would be immensely helpful to someone that was buying a new home that maybe wasn't familiar with that. He's just using his expertise to help people on social media. And then in the other, he's on a video talking about how much home equity you might have, which is a great place to start with video, by the way. Just take a concept, a lesson that you're always trying to tell your customers about, something that seems to cause confusion or that you get questions on all the time, and break it down really simply for them.
I honestly love when I see these kinds of posts, Connor, because it makes social media feel more like a resource and that I'm learning something versus just scrolling through mindlessly. This is definitely why financial professionals can be so successful on social media, because you really have something of value to add here, and things to share with current and or potential customers. While on top of that, you're also meeting people where they already are. They're spending a ton of time on social media. So it's clearly a big opportunity to become a trusted leader in the industry and to be able to reach thousands of people.
Okay, so thank you, Kelly. And we're back with Town Bank Mortgage. Here we have someone who has shared a helpful article, which, by the way, if you do share articles or news stories, you want to be sure to add a personal note or touch to them like this LO did here. You don't want to just push an article out with no commentary. You want to personalize it and include your analysis and why it matters. And then we have a lighter post, which is about why this loan officer got involved with the industry. And this is a unique example because it gives some context to the mortgage industry and humanizes it in the way that it's explained here. Sometimes to customers, these things are really scary: buying a house, getting insurance, investing. So you can use social media to make it more approachable and show them that it's a good thing. Kind of like Liz, you were saying in the beginning that people see professionals as these kind of scary figures, but it definitely doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly. As the professional or the institution, you're really able to serve as an advocate and a leader for people who are making these very big life decisions. You really have the opportunity to play a role in guiding these decisions and helping people do the best thing for them, while also being educated about decisions that they're making. Okay, Liz, so I would love to get your take on industry content. Can you tell me about these posts?
Sure. So I actually don't even want to take credit for these posts because this is where Denim Social has come in and sort of changed the game for me personally, just at Homestead. Ever since Homestead joined forces with Denim Social, I honestly don't really have to think about creating industry content anymore, which is fantastic. My team, coupled with Denim Social, have come up with this whole library for us, so I can just go in, kind of click, doing an article. I try to like do a mix, so it's not just like just an article, it's a whole mix of things like loan programs or whatever, and just kind of sprinkle those in throughout the week, just to sort of add, like you said, the industry content. I know that it's compliant. I know that it's going to be informational. And I do try to like throw in my own caption though, just like Connor had mentioned, or even just like a little sentence of, my own touch onto the caption that was already loaded onto the post. I do think that it matters to really put this content out there because it does cement you as that industry professional, and the videos are good, but not everybody has time for videos and to watch that 30 seconds. So that to have these sprinkled in, and even when they're just go to your page for the first time and scroll down, I think it really adds just another level of expertise into your feed.
Yeah, and I love that you do the mix there. I think it's always great to have, not only the content mix, but the mix of, the type of posts that you're publishing across your networks. How do you decide, Liz, in terms of content, industry content, how do you decide what's relevant to your audiences? Because I know a lot comes in. So how do you kind of narrow that down and choose?
I'm just going to be honest. I look at whatever interests me for the week, like whatever like post looks really good, or one that I haven't done yet. But like I get excited about stuff, so I think, well, how can I express my excitement about filing your tax return to refund your down payment? But it's really more like I'm thinking, and then like I watch the news. I make sure I watch the news. I watch financial news. I listen to people. I look at other feeds. I see what other financial people are posting, and so I want to stay relevant. So I'm always looking in the library for things that are going to be relevant. But it's really just that it's like whatever's interesting me for the week, I just want to tell people about it because I do that. I get excited and want everybody to know everything. So it's no different here.
I love that. And I know I can see that's a huge part as to why you're so successful as well. You're literally letting your authenticity shine through the industry posts. You genuinely care about it and you want people to know. So I think that's awesome and a great way and a great strategy to go about things. Last question here. Is there any kind of, industry content that you would maybe stay away from for social media?
I'll be honest. The thing that I think is the least engaged with are articles. You can't really post an article on Instagram, which to me is like one of the most used platforms. So articles, I probably don't use those as often. I will still post them to Facebook. I post them to LinkedIn because I think it's important. But those are generally like on the priority chain. They're probably at the end, just because I don't know if everybody's actually going to click that article and read it. I like them, but that might not mean that they like them. I think a lot of people, and we all are guilty of this, where we're just sort of doing that like doom scrolling where it's just flying through. So we really want to do anything to really like have anything bright and capture attention and stay relevant. So to me, the articles are probably they're not, less important, but they're just something I don't post as often as the other things.
Gotcha. No, that's all great advice. Thank you, Liz.
All right. So thanks again, Liz. And I think that just goes back to it's important to have a mix of content and you don't want to be posting the same stuff all the time. So great work on keeping it interesting on your feeds. And now we're going to move on and talk about something I don't think we've discussed a lot in previous social selling webinars, which is audience engagement. When you post on social media, it's not in a vacuum. That's not what social is all about. It's about interacting with and engaging with the communities you're building through your networks. And by commenting, liking, sharing, tagging, you're increasing your visibility too. So social media is very much give and take. Make sure that you're showing your communities that you care in this way. And here we've got Kurt again with Lincoln Savings Bank. And I love how he tags his customers here, congratulates them on their new home. Such a special moment for these people. And it's a wonderful personal touch that shows that he really cares about his customers through engaging with them on social. And sometimes it's really as easy as highlighting important things like this.
Agreed, Connor. I think tagging your customers, obviously, with their permission and compliance permission, of course, it's a very underrated social media tactic. You can also do this with your peers, your friends in the industry, anything that shows how you're connected with people that you work with. It makes things more real and really brings that in-person feeling to life online.
All right, and another couple of great examples from Town Bank. These are awesome industry posts that their loan officers have then liked, commented on, or shared. And since they did that, their networks will also see these posts. So anytime you're interacting with other people, your network grows too. So it's, again, give and take. You're expanding your networks every time that you are active on social, and also just make sure you're mindful of what you're engaging with too.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many, from a personal experience, how many new people and accounts I've found through others that have shared them or maybe liked them, and then they've popped up in my feed. So it's definitely worth your while to set aside time to do this on a regular basis. A lot of our customers will actually mark their calendars maybe for a few minutes every morning or even just once a week to do this intentionally. And Liz, I would love to hear how you've made audience engagement a part of your social media strategy.
Oh gosh, I feel like this might be most of it, to be honest. I think it's so important to not just be somebody behind, like the wizard behind the curtain, and Oz. You want to be out there and you want to show that you're doing these things with your customers and engaging. So with permission always, and it stinks when they don't give it, but with permission, every closing, I love to post a photo of the house and just give a shout out. I don't usually tag them unless they want, some people want that, so we do that, but I usually will tag the agent, but I'll just shout them out. Congratulations, so great working with you. Thank the agent for their referral. It shows other agents that other agents are choosing to work with me, which can kind of spark something in their mind, like, hey, if they're working with them, maybe I will give them a try. So it gives the buyer this fun shout out. They feel so special. They're already like on cloud 9 from closing, and just gives them that little extra oomph. Also, like if somebody invites me to their closing, I'll go there. This couple that's in the screen, they invited me to their house after closing, and they had a tricky file, and so we got, you become best friends with these people. It's like I joke with when I get like Instacart delivery, like I become best friends with my Instacart driver for like the 2 hours it takes between placing the order and getting it. And it's kind of the same way when buying a home. Like we all are just so closely working together. So it's so nice to kind of be invited into their circle, even just for that day. But even other audience engagement, I do take the time to go through, and sometimes I forget and I'm on my personal Instagram or something, but I go through, I like content from all kinds of people that I follow. I follow all the local agents I can think of, insurance agents, everyone. I'm liking their posts. I'm typing congratulations. I'm showing that I'm not just like a bot that's posting. I'm out there. If somebody like an agent shares a photo or a video that like they've made, I'm posting it right to my story. I'm giving them that recognition. I'm showing them that I'm grateful for their content, the way that I hope that they show me. I want that dopamine hit of the likes and the shares, and I, should give that right back. And so I'm always doing that. I'm scrolling and liking things, congratulating people very, very often throughout the week.
I cannot stress the importance of this. And Liz, like you are doing like a phenomenal job. Like you said, and I love that metaphor, like the wizard behind the curtain. You're an actual human. You create real relationships with these people, and you're doing it over social media. And this is so, so important that you're not just posting and ghosting. For instance, like you're out there, you're connecting with people. On the topic of posting, maybe you just closed on a house with a customer. I guess, how open has your team and how open have your customers been to posts like these that we have up? And how do you go about asking customers to post a closing?
Sure. I mean, if I'm not at their closing, usually the day that I know they're closing, I know what time they're closing, and I try to have it in my brain like, okay, they're closing at 1, they'll probably be out by 2. So I usually wait till like 3. Reach
Mhm.
out, oh my God, you're a homeowner. This is the best. I'm so excited. Do you mind if I share my excitement about you closing today on social? I'll just post a picture of the house and I won't post your last name. And I say, and it's okay if you say no, I'm just asking. And almost always they say yes. Recently, I've just had like a bout where a couple, multiple closings this month were just kind of like, no, thank you. And that's okay too. You have to, respect people's wishes. And some people don't want other people to even get an idea that it could be them. But it's important to ask for permission. This is a photo of their new home. You can always do reverse search on Google. Not everybody wants that. So I think it's very important to respect their wishes and boundaries.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point that's made and a very good practice.
Yeah.
How do you go about, making sure that your audience knows that you're staying connected with them?
Just like what I said before, I'm
Mhm.
scrolling all the time. What are people up to? I want to see what I also get ideas from other people.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at what agents are posting. I follow a lot of other mortgage industry insider professionals as well, because some people, we all view each other as like, we're in competition, and I truly can't think that that's further from the truth. We all benefit from each other. So I'm looking to see what other people are posting, writing it down. Maybe in a couple months I'll post something like that, or I'm getting inspired by others. So I
Mhm.
do spend a decent amount of time on social media just trying to engage with others, just trying to make people feel special, important, heard, seen, all the things that I would hope that they would do with my posts. So it does take time, but if you get used to it, I mean, we're all on our phone anyway. Okay. Like just at least like go on your professional account and just start liking posts. If an agent referral partner posts a new house, share it to your stories and say, wow, look at this great listing that just was posted by, and then tag them. That goes a long way. They don't feel like you're just this person that you want their referrals and you don't do anything else. We're all here together as a team to promote each other. And it really goes the distance when you do things like that.
I love it. That was such great advice, really sharing the love mentality. I can see why you're so successful in that piece. So thank you so much, Liz.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so many great examples here. I thought we could just wrap up with a quick social sellers checklist that you can share with your team or keep in mind as you are building out your social selling program and getting comfortable with it, getting your team comfortable with it. You're just keeping in mind to showcase thought leadership, engage with your prospects, interact with customers, build trust with the brand, whether it's your institution or your own personal brand, and create authentic and personal presence. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the community you create and having those in-person connections come to life online.
Thanks, Connor. And Liz, I just have one last question for you. What advice would you give social sellers that are just getting started or are trying to up their social media game?
Don't be afraid of looking silly sometimes. It's okay. People like it. If you like have like a fumble, like I fumbled at the beginning of this webinar, whatever. Like it's okay to mess up your words a little bit as long as you're just like not saying something that's wildly inaccurate. But it's okay to be silly, and it's okay if you've never had a social media presence and now all of a sudden you're starting one and it might seem daunting, like all of a sudden I'm going to be out there for these people. Yes, they want to see you. They want to know who you are. They, here's an example of something that has, I've heard this many times. My real estate agent gave me 3 names and you were on them. And so I looked everybody up and you were the only one that was on social media. So we chose you because we could watch your videos and we can kind of get an idea of what you're about. I hear that all the time. That's like people nowadays are using social media like they would Google. So if they hear a name, they're going right to Instagram. They're going right to Facebook to see what that person's all about. They're not necessarily Googling their name. And so it's so important for you to get out there, let people know who you are, that you're excited to help them, even if you're just beginning, even if it's just 1 post a week. It's okay to mess up a little bit, and you're going to. and just try to be yourself, and you'll get into the groove. It just takes time and practice, but you get there. It's worth it.
Thank you, Liz. I absolutely love that and could not agree more with what you just said. So thank you so much. Again, kudos to you. You're doing a great job. And it's obviously, it's obvious you've been able to create those relationships through social media. So keep it up.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. Thanks for coming. I also wanted to just thank all of our customers who provided examples for today's webinar. You all are doing an amazing job as well. So keep up the good work. Thanks again for everyone who's joining, for everyone who joined today. Before we do get into questions though, just wanted to let you know that our marketing team created some summer theme Canva templates, and we're going to be sending those out after this webinar, along with the recap of today's presentation. Hopefully you all gained some insight and got some new ideas for your own social selling strategies. And as always, we're here to help with any questions that you may have. So with that being said, let's check to see if there are any questions. And I think we do have one. Just pulling this up really quickly. Okay, so I've got a question, and I'm assuming this is probably for you, Liz. How long does it take for you to create those videos?
So at the beginning, like of doing them, it took me forever. I would take like 40 takes, I'm not gonna lie, and it would take me like 2 hours to get a 30-second post up or a 90-second post up, because I was like stumbling over my words, and I wanted to like figure out what I felt comfortable saying, or like if you don't have a script, which I don't like to have a script, I like to just shoot from the hip. Sometimes you say the wrong thing, so you have to start over, and it's okay. So I would say at the beginning, budget yourself like a bit of time to make these videos and feel comfortable with them. I like to do mine all in like 190-second take. Like I'm not interested in taking time to edit and taking this piece and this video so I just do 190-second take, and sometimes it takes me a while, but like now I can probably do it in 2 takes because I'm used to it. I understand what I want to say. I kind of prep my brain ahead of time. But the only way that I would have gotten to that point of getting to maybe 2 or 3 takes was the practice to get there. So it took me a while at first, and now it's fine. Now I love it now because I know what I want to say. I get it in my brain. I have an idea of the time because Instagram Reels have a cap at 90 seconds. So, you have to get a lot of information in that 90 seconds and retain their attention. And so you'll get there. And at first, like go to my Instagram if you want to. I think my handle was on some of the other slides. Go back into my old videos where you see me posting myself. They were not great, and it's okay. I get better. I learned about what like putting captions on a video does, because some people are like laying in bed putting their 2-year-old to sleep and want to scroll, and so maybe they can't put the sound on in that moment, but the captions help. Like I evolved as I started doing them. Sometimes I add a little bit of music in the background. Like I'm still learning, as I always will be, and so it's okay to start from the very, very, very bottom and kind of build your way up.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Yeah.
Liz.
Sure.
Looks like we've got another question. And I think this is a great question. So do I have to show my face? So when you're doing videos and maybe posts, any insights?
Yeah, I think you do. You can post videos. You can post videos, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you are somebody that scrolls TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, what catches your eye. Videos are good because they're informative, but what's going to catch you to stop for a second and not continue with that thumb scroll or that thumb tap? And if people already kind of are aware of who you are, they want to stop and hear what you have to say. They want to see, they're kind of interested too. Like they want to see what you're going to say and how you're going to present it. And it is interesting enough to them to stop for a second. I have professional photo or videos and stuff on my Instagram feed, and I'm going to tell you my engagement is 10,000 times higher when I actually have my face showing. I really think it's important to show people who you are and that you're in this job and that you're capable and approachable and all of those things to make them feel comfortable to make that next step in contacting you.
I totally agree with that, Liz. Connor, anything to add at all?
Yeah, I think, Liz, you're totally right. People want to hear from you as a person. I think, though, you don't have to do it all the time, right? Like you said, it's like mixing it up. So you don't have to feel like, I need to get on every day and spend 2 hours making like the perfect video. No, just like when you feel like you have a little extra time, you have something you want to say. And then other times you can rely on articles or content libraries or graphics. So it's just having that available and feeling comfortable with it more than anything.
Yeah, you don't want to dilute yourself, right? Like if you post your face every day, one, that's too much pressure on you. So don't even do that. Mental health first. But you don't want to post every single day your face. And you can even look in my feed. The last like 5 days I posted something. And I'm like, oh, I better stop. But I do have a very typical ADHD brain where I'll go 2 weeks without posting my face at all. You can go in my feed and look at it. There'll be like a gap where there's no face, but there'll be articles. And then all of a sudden I'll have all these things and I'm hyper motivated and I post videos a couple times a week. And that's okay. But there's no like right or wrong about getting yourself out there. It's just actually taking the steps to do it. That's the way to do it. But nobody's gonna look and be like, oh, A- today. You didn't post your face as much. Like, just don't be afraid of getting out there, even if it's just like a little bit at a time.
Absolutely.
All good. Yeah, it's all good.
I've got another question. What if you're not seeing results right away when you're starting to post?
You won't see results right away. It's not like you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to be an influencer now, so I'm just going to start posting and I'm going to have 10,000 followers. Like I don't have 10,000 followers, but I have engagement and I have people writing me messages and asking me questions and answering, commenting on my stories. And that's what I care about. But you're not going to see it right away. They might get lost. And I think you have to be okay with that it might take time for you to get your groove. It might take time for people to really start to see you as the expert and start commenting and engaging. So be okay with that. It might not be right away. And like I said, yeah, I had been doing this for a while and I think I have like a little over 1,000 followers, but it doesn't matter because I have engagement and I have people sharing my posts and that's what matters to me. So it's really all objective what success here means to you. But when it comes down to it, if you're getting people referring you and, telling you about the video that they saw, that's success and that can take time and that's okay.
I could not have said that better. Honestly, I totally agree. I think it definitely takes time and, being consistent across your networks is key, as we've said before. So yeah, I totally agree with Liz on that. Connor, anything else?
No, that was perfect. And it's about not getting caught up in the vanity metrics, right? I mean, you could have 1 million followers, but if nobody's interacting with your content, it doesn't matter. So, so right, Liz, about that definition of success.
And you'll be shocked too. Like I posted one recently and it might've been the time of day. I posted it at 3:00, which isn't really the best time. I thought for sure, like I was like, this is a good one. I love this one. I love this content. Like everybody's going to share it. This is so great. Crickets, didn't really get a lot of engagement. And you know what? We move on. Next. That's what I always say. Next. What's next? Don't worry about that. What's next? And try to engage the people that are looking at your content. So who are you promoting yourself to besides your clients? Are you wanting real estate agents to be interested in your content or insurance agents or any other people? Like post for them too. Post ways that they can more shrewdly craft offers with some of the cool tips and tricks. Like for mortgage, we have so many cool things. So I'm posting to not just clients and potential clients, but my partners. How can I advance what they do with what I do? And so any little thing is good and it might not appeal to everyone and that's okay. It's just on to the next. What's next?
Absolutely. And I think we've got time for one last question. How do I make sure what I'm posting is compliant?
If you do not have a marketing or compliance team, there are so many articles and you read the guidelines. I mean, if you have I'm speaking as a mortgage professional, so I can't really speak to other professions, but there usually is a code of conduct or ethical guidelines of what you're allowed to talk about, what you're not. And so I would definitely do your due diligence because this is public, it's out there and while mistakes happen, you really want to be careful because the rules in our industry are pretty tight and you want to be careful. So if you even just have, you can get a consulting team that will do that for you. It's very important to remain compliant. So if you don't have that at your disposal with your company, then I think that you should definitely look elsewhere, even if it's just a quick Google search of what can I say in my videos as X professional.
And Connor, anything at all to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. If you have a tool like Denim Social that has compliance workflows set up, that's great. If not, just check with your team. I mean, it never hurts to have another set of eyes on something, even if it's just a colleague, just to get that like double check and feel good about what you're posting.
Absolutely. All right. So I think that was our last question. Thank you again, Liz, for joining us. You have been amazing. And thanks everyone for hopping on. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.